Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Glitch Techs, Season 2, Episodes 8, 9, and 10. The final 3 episodes of the season. We are closing this out so that this weekend we can put up our first episode reaction to RWBY Volume 8. But we do have to finish this out first. So, the final 3 episodes of Glitch Techs. Of Season 2, at least. Hopefully there will be more. Ridley seems to be a very heavy topic this season. Like, we've already had 2 episodes with her. I think we're getting another, for sure. And possibly one maybe involving Mitch as well, because Mitch let her go without wiping her memory, which is a big deal for Mitch. So that's going to be interesting to see if that goes anywhere. Also, the question lies, how will this season end? Because Season 1 ended with an episode that was very much not a season finale type of episode. It was a good episode, but it just felt very, like, kind of just middle of the season. Which, I mean, they ordered a full season and everything, and then they split it into multiple seasons. I know how they did this and all, but still, they did that purposefully, planning to split it into multiple seasons, so it's like they still could have made that feel like more of a season finale. I don't know. But it's like, I just feel like there's maybe some wasted opportunity there. I don't know. But I'm wondering if this finale will feel more like a finale. We'll have to see. But we have 3 episodes here. I don't know what's going to happen. I can only guess. But I'm excited. This series has proven to be fantastic. I really love it. Like, no joke. So I really do hope it gets more in the future. A 3rd season, maybe even a 4th. But at least a 3rd. Because there's still so much they can do, and so much mystery that has yet to actually be answered. So we'll see. We'll just keep going forward and find out. So we're just going to get on with it. We, again, have 3 episodes to get through here. I'm very excited. I hope you all are too. So let's do this. Also, I'm going to just tilt this down. I should have done that earlier, but oh well. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so 3 very good episodes to end off the season on. So let's talk about these these episodes. We'll just go in order. So the first episode was Miko having her high scores on a DDR fighting game overcome by this young kid named Mike Sims. The last name was especially important, and I still do not know how. But we'll see, I guess, maybe in the future. Hopefully this gets picked up for another season or 2. Especially after the finale, but I'll talk about that in a bit. Talk about it in a bit. God, I'm a dork. But all seriousness. Yeah. So Miko is trying to get back her high scores, and then she finds out that it's not the person she thought it was, the new person she thought it was, it's his younger brother, Mike. So she and Mike decide to have one final dance off, and it ends up accidentally releasing these glitches that take the form of the characters they're using in the game. and they're actually even controlling them unknowingly. It takes all the glitch techs, even from Dabney, to come in to take them down, as well as, of course, Five getting through to them and getting Miko to step off and end the actual match. Um, but it's like it's really cool this episode for a lot of reasons. One, the focus on DDR is a cool idea. Like when people think of video games, like you think of console games or even arcade stuff. You don't think of DDR too often, even with the arcade stuff. But it's like then DDR does have its certain subset of diehard fans, and I'm even friends with a few of them who are just so into the game. And it's like, yeah, like they really take it seriously, take the high scores seriously and stuff. And I've played DDR. I've played it both on the dance pad and on a controller on console. Like I played DDR on the PS2 all the time. And just recently, I even got another rhythm game on my Switch called Taiko no Tatsujin Drum and Fun, which is a Japanese-based drum game, but you can play it on with just the controls as well. Since I don't have a drum controller for Taiko yet, though I do plan to get one at some point. Either way, either way, I know rhythm games and I get the idea behind them, so I do understand what this episode was going for. It's just I'm not as big into them as other people. But beyond that, the episode also focused a lot on the idea of being the new kid in town. Miko reminisces on how when she was new to town, when she first moved there, she would often work hard to make that specific game her game so she would get noticed, and so people would treat her as not just the new kid in town, but as someone they could call a friend, as someone they could connect to. It was just her way of trying to feel like she could fit in with the people there. Um, and we find out the same kind of thing is happening with Mike. Him and his brother just moved into town, and he, as you see after the entire match, he actually had fun. And despite the bet being that she would never play the game again since she lost, he openly invites her to play again. He wants to play with her again because he enjoyed it. He had fun. In a way, he made a friend. He found someone who understood him. And that's impressive. That's really cool for the show to tackle something like that. It didn't go into as much detail as like maybe some other shows might, but it still did it, and that's really cool. Um, there were two sequences, two notable dance sequences as well. One in the arcade, and one, of course, when Miko and Mike were taking each other on. I have heard the term kaiju baby on Twitter before. I knew it was involving glitch checks, but that's all I knew about it. I did not know the context behind it at all. I did not even know it was a song. I have heard the term before, but without knowing anything about it. So finding out it's a song and finding out it's in connection to DDR like game and stuff, it's like, that's cool. I like that. And it definitely sounded like a DDR game, as did the other one. I guess the theme song of the game, that's what it definitely sounded like it was supposed to be. But yeah, so I definitely enjoyed this. I like finding out finally what Kaiju Baby is. And yeah, I thought it was just it was a fun episode. The next two episodes, however, are not just about the fun, they're about big character building within this series. And in the case of the final episode, even some possible big world building. But let's cover the first one. The middle one, technically. Episode 9. So this episode focuses a lot on Mitch. We find out that there's a specific house that is constantly having glitches, and Mitch stops Miko and Five from taking the job there. However, Phil overrides that and calls Mitch into his office, where we find out that Mitch has kind of always taken care of that house. We don't know the details on as to why, but he has always taken care of that house. It's always been kind of his job. But it's gotten to the point where it can't just be let go anymore. Officially, Phil has to call this in to a specialist to come and take care of it. And if it's not up to code, to permaban whoever's behind it, which would stop them from basically gaming, period. It's like, because Hinobi has such a monopoly in this world on gaming, it's a much bigger deal than like if someone got permabanned from like the PlayStation servers in real life. It's a lot bigger of a deal because again, Hinobi has a complete monopoly on gaming in this world. So, and in a lot of ways, it seems on tech in general. But yeah. um, so Miko and Five end up following Mitch there anyways after he's let go there unofficially, because if he cleans it up once again unofficially before the specialist arrives, then there's no reason to permaban them. So Miko and Five follow Mitch there against his will and get involved, and there we find out that the home belongs to Mitch's family. And specifically, we meet his two brothers and his sister, who, along with Mitch, are part of this this four-person streaming group. And that's what this one definitely, that's one of the big things in terms of gaming that this focuses on, online streaming. As well as it does cover, God, what is the term? They said it in the episode, augmented reality. Augmented reality games are covered in this as well, but to a lesser degree. It's definitely more focused on the streaming aspect. I have streamed games. You guys know that I haven't done it as much as I used to, mostly due to the crappiness of the internet here, cutting out randomly. But I have streamed games and all, but I've never considered myself a streamer. Like, it's not something that I actively would do. I'm a YouTuber. I record videos and upload them later on. I would not be considered a streamer by any means. So again, it's something I understand because I've watched plenty of streams over the years, but it's not something that I personally am connected to, just like with the DDR. But luckily, the episode, once again, is not really about that, per se. The episode focuses more on Mitch and his family. We find out that Mitch left home once he got his job at Hinobi, and that he started putting all of his time and attention into the job, which really does connect with what we learned about him earlier this season, what we learned about his past as a streamer and stuff, and saw that he used to be a pretty cool dude, but then things changed once he started working at Hinobi and stuff. So he started working at Hinobi, he started putting all his time into his job and moved out from his home. And so his siblings would cause trouble there, make it a complete mess and everything, just to lure him back, just to try and get him back so they could spend more time with him again. Because they loved him and they missed him. And while that's not necessarily the best thing to do for multiple reasons, Mitch always answered their calls because deep down he cares for them too. He even, that's why he made such a point of it being his job, about it being his specific location, because it is. And yeah, I mean, that's cool. It's great development for his character. And we even see him start to warm up to Miko and Five in this episode, not only agreeing to work with them after a point, but by the end, he's actually acknowledging them. Not only their skill, but he acknowledges them that, like when he says, like, maybe I could take some time off here and there and come home and hang out with you guys. Instead of them, causing such a huge mess just to get him to come. And when Five and Miko ask him, like, about taking all that time off, he's like, well, that's why you guys are my backup. And it's like, that was a really cool moment of development for his character. And I think we've been seeing this development really since the episode where, well, the entire Invasion of the Body Snatchers episode. we started to see him start to come around towards working with others. Then we saw his interaction with Ridley. I think the thing with his past was actually before the Body Snatchers episode, but still, that didn't really have him coming around yet. But then we saw him letting Ridley go and all, which was not actually, that didn't come back into play yet, which is a little sad. I really expected that to come back in the finale, but again, we'll talk about the finale in a moment here. Um, but yeah, we've been seeing kind of this evolution of his character this season. And again, as I said in the reaction, I don't think that he's going to be fully redeemed. Like he's going to just be a complete good guy from here on out. No, not by any means. I think it's more along the lines of he's going to be a little more tolerable and acknowledge them a little more often. I think that's going to be the gist of it. He's still probably going to be a griefer. He's still probably going to steal kills and steal experience from people who have earned it, but still. Then we get into the final episode, which was the most interesting, and unlike season one, definitely felt like a season finale episode. So Bit is starting to slow down, and apparently this has been something that's been coming for a while. That's been like slowly progressing and getting worse. But Bit is really starting to slow down to the point where it's actually interfering with the glitch tech's work. Phil gets angry, threatens to get a new robot, doesn't actually mean it. But he's just upset. But this gets Miko and Five to try and fix Bit, unknowing to Phil. They end up accidentally making it worse because Bit is going out to try and create this these desserts like recipes and stuff, and the mission is overtaking basically his mind and his ability to think rationally, or well, emotionally in a way you could say. So Miko and Five, while not telling Phil, try to hunt him down, and we see all these shenanigans and trying to stop him. There's the EMP scene, but Phil eventually catches on once the glitches that they had returned before get loose at headquarters. Not really thanks to Bergie. Like it wasn't Bergie's fault at all. But he didn't really help catch it because Burry's not the best. But yeah, either way, we see Phil find out, and eventually, while trying to track it, Miko and Five end up coming to Phil's house, which they find out later on. The robot goes there, unlocks all this super high tech shit, and out pops a cartridge after it unloads all of the food data it collected. He collected. Why do I keep saying that? The food data he collected. Bit manages to stop himself from adhering totally to the mission, but isn't able to stop the security bots. Then Phil comes in, stops it, sends them out after revealing it's his home and everything. And yeah, pretty much the gist of their part. But after they leave, Phil tries out the cartridge that came from all that data, and it reveals it was an encrypted message from himself in the past that he had sent presumably before his memory was wiped of something really big and important that we don't know yet. We find out that younger Phil had apparently stumbled onto something about Hinobi. And this is something that the first season kind of hinted at too, that there was something going on with Hinobi. So we see that Phil had stumbled onto something, and that the fact that he's seen this and everything kind of implies that he did get his memory wiped, which is very clear by the fact that he doesn't remember this at all. That he got his memory wiped at some point, which means that whatever he stumbled onto is big and important, and probably just something I presume bad that Hinobi is doing. I don't know what, but we'll possibly find out, and that might have something to do with why they're keeping an eye on Miko, with her ability to not get erased and everything. So this definitely felt like a finale to the season because it gave us like a real legitimate season finale type story with Bit going out of control and everything, and the big mystery surrounding the encrypted file. But also that ending, like that was super finale worthy, giving us like this big revelation, and this big on top of the big important stuff it gave us about Phil. It just gave us this big revelation and this huge mystery to unravel in the future. And that's why I really hope that this does get enough viewers to warrant a third season at least. There's so much that we have to cover still. But one thing to note here is that from what I've heard, they're having trouble getting another season secured, and so we definitely need to make sure we get the word out and that enough people see this to warrant it. Because we don't want this to just end off on such a huge cliffhanger. Now outside of that, I did notice something about this season that separated it from the first. There wasn't as big a focus this season on Miko and Five's families. They had a much bigger focus, especially Miko's, in the first season. In fact, I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think we saw any of Miko's family this entire season. I don't think we saw her parents or any of her siblings this entire season. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, though. We did get the family of Mitch and everything, and we had other stuff going on with families, but we didn't get any of that going on. So that's interesting in and of itself. I think we might have seen Five's grandparents, and actually I think it was this season that we did learn about Five's father. So we did get that, but Miko's family was left behind, for sure. So it's really interesting on that, and I do hope that if we get a season 3, hopefully we get the season 3, that we'll see more of them going forward. Especially since we haven't even covered all of her siblings. We've only really covered like her sisters. We still have her brother and then the baby as well to cover, which I think is also brother. And then we should also like focus on her parents at some point too. And then there's the stuff with Ridley that's left unresolved. There's a lot of stuff that really could go more into. And obviously the finale of this. So it's like, there's so much to still cover with this series. We can't just let it end now. Like, I really have high hopes for a future for this. Because this is one of those shows that if it just ends here, it's going to be unsatisfying as hell. Like, it's not like that one other Netflix series that only has one season because the creator turned out to be a total fucking creep. 12 Forever. It's not like 12 Forever, which actually felt like it wrapped up well enough and didn't really require continuation as much. Glitch Techs, both with the first season and now with this one, have left multiple mysteries hanging that we definitely want to find out about. It definitely, I feel, honestly requires more. So we have to hopefully make sure it gets more. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we get it. We'll just have to take it as we go, though, and do our best to make sure it gets it through viewership and whatnot. So watch it, rewatch it, show other people on Netflix and stuff. Make sure those views go up. But in the meantime, tell me what you thought of these final 3 episodes of season 2 of Glitch Text in the comments below. And once again, as a reminder, we are replacing Glitch Text right away with Ruby Volume 8. So Ruby Volume 8 will kick off this Saturday. It will obviously be pre-recorded, but yeah, the reaction will be uploaded on Saturday. So prepare for that. Get ready for that as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my reactions to season 2 of Glitch Text. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.